Peace and prosperity be unto all who's listening and watching. It's your girl Shay Miller, right? And I'm back with another video. And today we're gonna talk about uh, my sexual experience and me and my first time losing my virginity and uh, having intimacy for the first time, and like my experience and what I learned from it and where I'm at in this point in life and all that good juicy information because it's educational, right? So my first time was at the age of 12 years old, and I was a troubled young woman, young girl at that time. I stayed in a lot of trouble. Um, the guy was older, much older than me. He was already in high school, so I'm 12, and he was already in high school. So you get the drift, guys. The guy was older, meaning he was more. I don't know what it is about young girls, and I've experienced this a lot growing up. It's like after you use your V card, it's like every grown man knows that you no longer have it, or they just want to take it from you. I really don't understand, but still to this day, I never understood that. Why that always happened to me as a young girl. But ultimately, it helped me get to this point. So my first time was in a car, and naturally, um, it was not the best. It wasn't the best, you guys. I mean, because I've had car sex um, older as I got older, and it was so much better than like my first time. He wasn't really. Maybe he just wasn't gentle enough. It just wasn't good, you guys. It was my first time. It wasn't like a mind blowing experience. It was just like one of those moments where you're like, okay, we're doing this, yeah. But it wasn't very interesting. But that didn't stop me, and it kept me. I kept going in my sexual experiences, and eventually I got into like some more sexual encounterments after that, and then those experiences got better. Those got better. Maybe those people knew what they were doing, and it just got better over time, or or it was just my first time and just not knowing what it was supposed to feel like or what to expect. But honestly, first time is never what you expect, especially at the age of 12. Like why I don't understand why young women or young girls have sex so young. But then again, I really do, because a lot of men, I don't know, they just look at us. They're like looking at us, and then they're like, and then like once you lost the V card, it's like they know that you lost your V card, and then they're like trying to come on to you, or they put you in a predicament where it's like, if you say, like, it's like a lot of weird encounterments that goes on between young girls and grown men. I'm not even gonna say boys, because boys wasn't really thinking about sexual encounterments at the age young girls were thinking about it. So this topic has nothing to do with young boys who are just growing up to be men now, but more importantly with grown men having a sexual encounterment with young girls and being highly attracted to young girls and touching on young girls before they even blossom, like age 12, 9, really young. We don't know what it's supposed to feel like. A lot of us, I'm not going to stunt though, guys, a lot of young girls are very fast. Very fast. Okay, we have these very fast growing experiences that makes us grow up very fast. So ultimately, it helps us mature as women, but that doesn't mean our experiences are good. It just means that it helps us evolve and grow and be better women in this world. So like the sexual experiences got better as I got older, because sex in the car became way better as an older woman. I am 25. So sexual experiences now are phenomenal. Like, but I was in a really long relationship um, for like 8 years long, and I would only be intimate with that person. And but I like nymphos needs to have sex 24/7 all the time. There's nothing wrong with being a nympho. I am, but after that breakup of 8 years, I had to teach myself sexual discipline because after that breakup, I went on a sexual blow up or a sexual outburst that took me on just doing. I'm telling you guys, maybe I was hurting, and that was a weird way of coping with things. Uh, but that was my way of expression, sexual means of escaping things. We all use things for different reasons. Sex is a good way to escape, but it ultimately doesn't help you get over whatever you're experiencing. Um, and like I just went on this like sexual experience after that breakup, and I just started to have a lot of sex, and I had a lot of sex growing up as well, but I just feel like different things spiral one sex. So yes, different things spirals one sex encounterments. I have tried different things, and I don't think nothing's wrong with different sexual experiences. I've tried them all. I've never ate but I would never eat but I've been with girls and I've been with guys. And I'm telling you, all the experiences are different, but ultimately you just help yourself figure out what you like and what you don't like and what you'll stay involved in, and like, but ultimately it helps you figure out like when you use these things. Like I would only do certain sexual activities when I was single, and there's certain things that I would do when I'm intimate with someone. So it's just like different levels for me on a sexual journey, and like from losing my V card. So it's been like a very interesting journey. I mean, I don't really think anything's wrong with it. I think sex is a way of expressing oneself, but I believe that we ultimately cope with sex in another way. And sex, depending on where you at in life, can either be a coping mechanism or a beautiful way to express a deep connection and a profound bond. Uh, but I now, after all those different spike in my sexual experiences, I eventually taught myself how to I eventually disciplined myself to be able to go without sex. So I went without sex for a very long time, for about 6 years after all that, and did really good. But I had this other problem at the time. So I was drinking a lot. I drink a lot. And I'm like one of those heavy drinkers. I drink, like, I mix, I drink a lot. But I don't do it anymore, okay? That's past me. But what happens when I drink a lot, I do, like, sexual activities that I may not even remember. You know? Or, like, call or hang with someone that I know that I'm going to be intimate with. And get really drunk and forget all about it. And a person will feel used after you do something like that because you won't call on them again only around that time of year. And like I'm someone who breaks out of habits. Those habits, like I had different spikes in my sexual journey. I grew out of them. I different stuff is great, like threesomes, and I never been in an orgy. Uh, just different stuff with women. Women are very interesting, very demanding, very sensual, very sexual. Men, I've seen all the different kinds. Uh, the experience is alright. It just ultimately helps you decide where you want to be in life, what kind of person you want to be, the kind of woman you want to be, the decisions you make for yourself, ultimately for your body. Because, yes, sex is a way of sharing your scarring energy, and you want to be mindful of who you share your energy with, and it's really important. So if you value yourself, ultimately, like, once you overcome certain phases, like, you no longer will see the same, you no longer would do the same, and sometimes our perspective on something can really um, jeopardize different things in our lives. But we all have different perspectives of different opinions about why we did it, and most of us use the sex for a coping mechanism, a way to express ourselves when pent up energy is there. But when you get to a place of peace and contentment, like myself, you no longer have um, random sex encounterments sex over the night sex, or you never be compelled to being challenged by somebody like, oh, you not about it, or none of that stuff anymore. You don't entertain things like that. You save yourself for yourself. You save yourself for somebody who's going to cherish that about you. It's just like a, I guess with a woman or everybody, because everybody gets to a point where they grow out of that stuff, and they get to a place where they're like, okay, I'm not sharing myself with people who don't even appreciate me, that don't even value me, but probably wouldn't even remember my name. And if I was either to get them knocked up or they was to get me knocked up, I probably wouldn't even be able to get in contact with them. It's just like coming to this realization that you must have a standard and a boundary and a level of respect for yourself, because as you grow, like from the age of 12 to the age of 25, I've grown so much. And I've grown so much confidence, so much self-respect, so much love for myself, that I ultimately don't feel I need to experience anything else. And I really had a lot of fun, like a lot of fun having sex and expressing myself. But I felt like I did hurt a lot of people along the way, because a lot of people felt used by me, and I can say this. Probably felt used by me because I was just like have sex with them, and like I wouldn't talk to them. Like, it just really depends. Like, if it was somebody I genuinely cared for, I kept them around. I was like very consistent with them. I was responsive, whatever. I was responsible. But when it was somebody I didn't care about, I didn't really know, or I knew for a small time, and we just became friends with benefits, yeah, I wasn't very consistent with people like that, and I didn't keep them around, and ultimately, that can lead to a lot of misunderstandings, and a lot of people can end up butthurt, because I'm very like emotionless. I mean, like, I need you to understand, guys, we are very emotional beings, and we though we have sex from a very unemotional standpoint sometimes, there's times that people eventually tap into their emotions, and they get very attached, very connected. They get to this point where they miss the sex with you, or they miss, like, okay, that bond, I miss that time with that person. And you don't want to create things that ultimately won't go away. But ultimately, I'm not like I used to be. I've grown up so much. I've created some sexual disciplines for myself over the years. I've learned to have confidence. I've learned to grow out of my coping mechanisms of my sexuality. Nymphos usually do this kind of stuff, guys. Just do people like that, okay? It's nothing personal. It's just how we express. There's a lot of nymphos out there that just love sex. But ultimately, on a mental standpoint, that's great, because we get our fix or whatever. But when you think about it, it's just like, this has not benefited my soul, my spirit, my heart, and it's like you're tying like energy to yourself that you don't want to carry with you, and it's just like comes to this realization, like, hey, if I need to find, be with that one person to share my energy with, somebody who's gonna value the time they get with me, because a lot of people don't value you. Okay, it's like that. This is why I've never had any kids by anybody, because like just getting knocked up by somebody and randomly they just dip out on me, it's not happening, guys. It's not happening. So I'm just not those kind of people who um, believe in like having kids by a lot of people, or doing meaningless sex anymore, or like having meaningless bonds. I'm someone who likes a sacred connection, a deep bond, and something that's gonna last like a very long time. Something that I would cherish, and something that I would value, and that when I go to bed at night, I think, okay, well, I would not want to mess this up. So something that's very maturing, because I'm a very mature person now. Something that is very feels very great, feels great when you experience it, and just like a really sincere, genuine bond and connection with somebody. So losing the V card is a great thing for those who are ready at the right age. I mean, honestly, you can't really control when people have sex or when they start to have intimacy, but you can give them like valuable feedback, condoms and birth control and things like that, and tell them what they can and cannot do, and they can decide for themselves. That is disclaimer for oneself to decide for themselves. And honestly, it does take time to grow out of these behaviors, because we all have our behaviors. It took me time to overcome drinking. I started cussing at the age of 12. I still cuss, like, sometimes. So it takes time to overcome these things, these habits, these behaviors that we first experience them, but then they become a form of nature. It becomes a second nature for us, and becomes a habit. It becomes something hard to break out of, and it becomes something that you struggle with. But I am now strong, confident, and I don't share my body with any and everybody. I share my body with somebody who's going to value me, somebody who respects me, somebody who's going to remember my name. You know, even if a person remembers you, like, because I know I've experienced this, okay? Somebody remembers the sex, and they even remember my name, but that's not the point. Not everybody's going to remember your name, but they'll remember the sex and the memory of when they did it and how they did it with you, or they might add on in their head. But what I'm saying is, people will remember the sex, but won't remember your name. And a lot of people will come back and be like, well, I just want another chance, another try. And I'm just like, I don't give second chances. Like, if you didn't do good or you wasn't the best, oh well, move on. That's just like my thing. But I'm more focused on growing. So if you're somebody who's lost your V card, or you're somebody who's thinking about it, I want you guys to consider all the different experiences that you'll have after that. Now, most young girls have sex with older guys. And good thing he wasn't that older, but he was old enough. Because, 12th grade and he was in high school already. That's pretty decent number. But, we all make decisions and choices no matter what age we are. Whether we are aware of the full consequences of those decisions and choices and mistakes, we still have to live with those experiences that we decided to crash into. So those things make us greater, those things make us better, and those things help us evolve. So if I had not experienced those things early on in my life, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So this is education for anybody who is losing their V card or has lost their V card, and it's very entertaining just to talk about it. Now, first experiences suck. Now, I don't know too many people who's ever said to me personally, said, oh, my first time losing my V card was so great. I've never heard it. Some people say it hurts. Some people say, oh, it was just like I just laid there. I'm somebody who, if it's not good, I'll show it in my expression. I'll just, like, I'm serious. And I will you probably feel really bad about having intimacy with me, because you will know if it's not good, because I will definitely not make any sounds. I would just look look at, I just be laying there like a Barbie doll or something. But that is not the point, guys. I want you guys to know that it's totally fine to have intimacy and have sex and experience and learn and grow and really get to know yourself, because that's really what it is. You're learning about yourself. You're learning about yourself with other experiences with other people, but opposite sex. Or, depending on if you're gay or not, though. You might encounter it with the same sex. Now, somebody like me, I grew up bisexual, bi-curious, and I just love psychology, and I just love to study in people. I was a quiet person who enjoyed studying people. I love to watch. I love the study of what watching can do to my mind. And sometimes I can sit and just watch people. Watch their behaviors, watch how they react, watch them completely. And I'm just like a totally different person in that aspect. But I've grown so much as a woman, and I'm so glad for that. But I want you guys to know that I love you, and I hope you guys have a prosperous day. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. And if you guys want more valuable content that's educational, that's broad like this one, just let me know, and I will make more for you guys. And we're out.